Okay, before we get into the 5 filmmaking mistakes we're going to talk about here, if you haven't seen our short film, Casey's Favorite Song, click on the card here, check it out, because there are spoilers ahead. It's a fun short film we shot on an iPhone that we're getting ready to deconstruct. Okay, you've been warned, so here we go. Let's check out 5 filmmaking mistakes you should hope to avoid. Okay, whether you're shooting films on an iPhone or a DSLR or heck, even an Arri Alexa, you're gonna make mistakes. It happens, especially independent film, but even larger productions, it just happens. But when it comes to iPhone filmmaking, one thing you really gotta be aware of is the battery. When we put this film project together, we had a plan. We wanted to use an external monitor, and so we bought an HDMI adapter that also had a lightning port in it. It was our understanding that using the lightning port at the same time with the HDMI would still allow the phone to be charged. Well, not sure whether our port was bad or we used it incorrectly, but it didn't work. It worked great sending the HDMI signal to the monitor, but it did not charge the phone simultaneously. So before we even started shooting, the phone died. We were just using the monitor to set up our lighting. We didn't test this, and that's a big no-no. Always test your gear. In the end, we ended up using an Anker battery, an external USB battery, to charge the phone the entire time, but the negative there is we could not use our external monitor. That led to the next problem. Such a small screen with no external monitor led to us missing all kinds of stuff in the frame. When you're making movies and it's a small crew, you're not always focused on everything in the frame. You're usually focused on the lighting or the performance. It's good to have multiple eyes on the screen. That's one reason there's a video village on larger productions. Because of that, we had all kinds of things show up in the frame that we didn't want. We went in and painted out the floor and rotoscoped around her in After Effects. Not exactly easy stuff to be doing, and especially something you don't want to do on a micro budget, no budget short film. And this one too, we left a tripod in the shot, if you can believe it, because she had on a dark shirt and the tripod leg was dark. And you're using a little monitor and the camera is up and above her and we just couldn't see. And so this was a fun one to fix in editing too. Now, it's always been strange that you can buzz focus on an iPhone that has such a small sensor, but it happens to us all the time. This is just one example in this short film. Multiple takes here. Didn't realize until we got into editing, because it often looks sharp on a small iPhone screen. One lesson here is to use peaking. We were shooting on FiLMIC Pro and we used peaking some, but not all the time. But routinely using the reticles in FiLMIC Pro, we buzz the focus. It's kind of irritating. It happens on big shoots too though, even where you have a focus puller. But when you're shooting on iPhone, you want to be especially careful and make sure you're in focus. Before we did this short film, we shot some test footage using log with the iPhone. At the time, it was new to us, 2017, when we shot this. And we did our test, and it looked great, and it worked great. We shot outside, though. So, cut to shooting the short film. We're inside. We have lights, but the log footage got extremely noisy. 2 things we learned here. Number 1, you need a lot of light. You need a lot of light, period, for an iPhone, but in particular when you're using log footage. And number 2, we didn't understand the way ISO worked in FiLMIC Pro, so we shot with way too high of ISO. She knocks. I want my jam box back.
Okay.
If you bring the ISO down and keep it around 22, which is the lowest it goes, under 100 in particular is good, your images will look good. Although shooting inside, we've kind of gotten where we don't shoot log inside. We do shoot log outside. Inside we would shoot flat or even in the natural setting. And that's what we ended up doing here. We ended up shooting natural for about 2/3 of the movie. We shot log in the beginning, and I looked at the footage and it was really noisy and it made me nervous.
Take it on the run, baby.
I didn't want to waste an entire day of shooting. So we switched over to natural and it worked out pretty well. This last mistake can happen on any movie, no matter the size of the budget, no matter what you're shooting on. It's continuity mistakes. Happens in every film we've ever done. Fortunately, most of these were pretty invisible to the audience, but we're going to go ahead and point them out here. On the radio, if you look at the tape closely, that is a 10,000 Maniacs tape, which was not around in 1981. Another little thing is the volume. The volume is turned all the way down on the radio. The radio is on, but the volume's down because we had it plugged in, and when the radio was playing back, it obviously overlapped with what we were shooting. We needed it quiet. That's a small one, but little things like that can add up. A bigger one though are clocks. When you have clocks and shots, that can cause problem, especially when your short film is time sensitive. She is trying to record these songs before 5 o'clock when her sister wants her jam box back. Well, on these wide shots, didn't really think we could see the clock back there. But lo and behold, shooting 4K on the iPhone, you could. We went in and grabbed shots from the close-up shots of the clock we did, and then we altered them using Photoshop. In the end, it worked out pretty well. This short film was shot so quickly, almost like a film race. We shot the whole thing in about 4 hours. Maybe 6 to 7 hours for everything because we had to set up the room, art direction and that kind of stuff. But the actual shoot was very quick. You cut corners sometimes and you make mistakes. So there you go, 5 filmmaking mistakes, whether you're shooting on an iPhone or any other camera for that matter, that you want to avoid. We made them, so hopefully you won't have to. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you like it, please give us a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed and you like our content, please subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next video.